Hi, friends. So I'm back in this virtual room that I exist. It seems almost every day these days. I'm joined by Ernesto Cervini. Ernesto, so nice to virtually meet you.
Absolutely. It's so great to meet you.
So I've connected with you through email conversations. You're in the jazz scene here in Toronto, but abroad. Maybe let's start by talking a little bit about you. You wear different hats. You're an artist, you're a musician, you help promote other artists. So where would you like to start?
Sure. So yeah, I mean, I do all of those things. I was raised in a musical family, and I started playing music from a very young age. I went to the University of Toronto to do my undergraduate degree in jazz performance on
Mhm.
drums, and then after that, I moved to New York to do my master's degree at the Manhattan School of Music, also
Okay.
for jazz drums. And and then I stayed in New York for about 4 years, and then I moved back to Toronto, and I've been here ever since then. I think that was I moved back to Toronto in 2007, so it's been a while now that I've been back in Toronto.
Mhm.
And yeah, kind of along the way, I got interested in doing publicity. It seemed like in the Canadian jazz scene, and
So you're in and out. So yeah, you've been back
um,
in Toronto now for a while.
been back in Toronto for I guess 18 years now, which is kind of crazy. Uh, and yeah, along the way, being in the scene, it seemed like there was kind of a need for someone to do jazz publicity. There was no one really doing specifically jazz publicity.
Right.
And there were some people that were doing it, but it was just one of many things that they were doing. And, after talking with a lot of my colleagues about that need, and I had done publicity for my first album when I was living in New York. I released an
Mhm.
album and I did publicity because I didn't have any money, and
Right.
so I just did it all myself. And so, I was saying, oh, I did, my first one all by my own, all by myself, and I was able to get a bunch of stuff. And then someone finally kind of called me on that and said, well, I want to hire you to be my publicist.
Right.
I was like, okay. And
Sure.
so I just kind of jumped into it. And it started really small. I just had a couple of clients the first year, and then a couple the next year. And then it
Mhm.
started, once I got a good routine going, it just kind of ramped up. And so I think I've been doing that for 11 or 12 years now, doing publicity. Um, and it's been great. It's so much fun to be able to get um, the great music that's being made by Canadian artists
Yeah.
across the country and
Mhm.
get that out across the globe. And I get so many comments from people saying, "Oh my gosh, I had no idea that there's all this great music being made in
Mhm.
Canada." I'm like, "I know. You should know about this. It's such a rich, community of musicians." So that's been really great. And then I also am the artistic director for the Markham Jazz Festival, which I've been doing for I guess 3 festivals now, which has been
Mhm.
super fun. It's really interesting to see that side of the business. And then I teach at the University of Toronto.
Oh,
Um,
just add
yeah,
that to the
I
mix.
also teach at U of T. I have some private students, and I teach a couple classes as well. So
Mhm.
um, I I like to have my hands in a lot of different things, and I find that if I'm not busy, I kind of get sad. Like I get really bummed out when I'm not busy. So
Okay,
I also get overwhelmed when I'm too busy.
sure.
So there's like a really, really fine line that I'm trying to keep at all times, where I'm like very, very, very busy, but not too busy.
That's
Um,
true.
yeah. So yeah. So that's kind of how it all happened. It all kind of happened very organically, and now I
Mhm.
just find that I'm very happy having my having some input in a bunch of different parts of the scene.
Yeah, that sounds great. I mean, not relatable on the busy things. That yes, sometimes we need to know our limits. So I'm a very busy person. I enjoy it
Uh-huh.
for the most part. That's why I'm like, I talk to filmmakers, I talk to people like you wear different hats, and I find that there's it's almost like a bit of a community there that we're all like wearing different hats for some
Yeah.
reason.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Exactly.
so thank you for sharing that. I also think that it's true that unless you are, I mean, I'm not in the jazz scene 100% of the time, but just because of maybe I saw an ad or like growing up in the city, I mean, I kind of discovered like little jazz places here and there. So it's nice that the scene's grown and it's also across Canada and then you're also providing a bit of a platform for folks
Mhm.
in that sense. So let's talk a little bit about this series because I don't want to forget about the series. There's a new jazz series that you're helping curate here in Toronto. Is this coming up in November, the second month or the
The
third?
the third one.
The
Yeah, it
third
started
one.
in September,
Okay.
and it's called The Next Set.
Mm-hmm.
And the idea was because I'm teaching at the University of Toronto, and there's all these really great students, learning there, and I just thought it would be so nice to start a series where I could, you know, play with a couple students and then bring in another professional, and just make a band that's mixing, students with professionals, and kind of, be a little bit of a mentor, and also, and keeping in mind that like these students nowadays, they have opportunities to perform, and they are performing out, which is great.
Yes.
um, but it's also just like for me, it's also I want to play with them because they sound great and they're really enthusiastic, and
Mm-hmm.
it's really nice to make music with different people.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I remember playing with my teachers when I was a student. I never got to play a gig with them, but
Right.
even just playing with them in class, or for whatever reason, it was always such a thrill
Right.
because there's a certain amount of mastery when you're just figuring out and just learning how to play. And some of these students really, it's not like they're just learning, they're quite good, but
Sure.
there's a comfort,
Mm-hmm.
that when I'm even like listening to my peers play and they've just been playing their instrument for 30 years or
Yes.
something. There's
Mm-hmm.
just an ease, and
Mm-hmm.
I remember that as a student. Specifically, I can remember I had a piano, an ensemble with this great piano player named Brian Dickinson. And I
Mm-hmm.
remember our piano player wasn't there one week. And
Yeah.
so he sat down at the piano, and it wasn't I wasn't blown away by his technique, or his, I mean, these things were all great. His technique was great. He had great ideas,
Of
played great.
course.
Everything was great. His time was awesome. But to me, it was just the ease that he played with. It was just so relaxed, and like I was just like, wow,
Yeah.
that there's just this maturity.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, I wanted to try and find a way to give that opportunity to the students at U of T. And in my mind, I'd like to, not just do it for students at U of T. I mean, those are the ones I know because that's what I
Right.
do. But I
Mm-hmm.
would love to extend this. There's a great jazz program at York. There's a great jazz program at Humber. So just because I don't teach there doesn't mean that I wouldn't.
Mm.
I just don't know those students yet.
Right.
So I'm starting it, working in at U of T where I know a lot of the students.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it's been great. The first two concerts were really, really fun. It's been different kind of instrumentation
Okay.
every
Nice.
time. So the first concert, it was a great singer named Magda, who is in, I want to say, third year this year.
Okay.
And then a guitarist named Deepo, who actually just graduated from U of T. And
Mm-hmm.
then it was myself and, a bass player named Mark Godfrey, who's a great player in the scene. So that was the first concert in September. It was really wonderful. And then last month it was, this, alto saxophone player named Av Ravitz, who's in second year, who's an extraordinary alto player. And then a piano player named Evan Miles, who is doing, I think he's in second year of his master's degree.
Okay.
He's from somewhere out west, maybe I don't know if it's Winnipeg, or I'm thinking Winnipeg. I'm gonna go with Winnipeg.
Okay.
Someone will tell me if I'm wrong.
Prairie.
Um,
Prairies.
and who else was in that band? Oh, and then, a great friend of mine, Dan Fortin,
Okay.
who's a great, bass player. So
Mm-hmm.
that one was really fun. And then on, next week, it's, this bass player named Phil Luke, who is in his fourth year at U of T, and he has been in my ensemble for the past 2 years. So I've been working with him, and I taught him an improv class in his first year. And then it's a great trumpet player named Enoch, Lodu, who again, I think he's in third year now. and then myself and a wonderful alto saxophone player named Tara Davidson, who is a dear friend of mine and is in my band Turboprop, and we play together. Tara and I have been making music together since I was 12, so
Wow, that's nice.
it's been a while.
Yeah.
So it's just an opportunity to put musicians together and play, and everyone brings in a couple songs.
Okay, I was going to ask you about that, whether it's more jam-like or some choices already made.
Yeah, so the idea is everyone brings in two songs they'd like to play, whether they're originals or just standards or arrangement, like whatever. Everyone brings in two songs, and then we pick two standards, and then we rehearse once,
Yes.
and then we play.
Wow.
So
kudos to you, rehearsing once and then going. I admire that. Maybe for folks who might not be as well versed, can you tell us a little bit about the difference between standard and other types?
Sure, absolutely. So jazz standards is just a term. How to explain a jazz standard? So basically, there's this big book of songs that jazz musicians are all just kind of expected to know.
Right.
A lot of them are songs that were written in the 40s and 50s. They were from musicals. And composers like Cole Porter or George Gershwin, and just there's all this great music that's out there. And so in the jazz world, we call them standards, and it's basically like the standard book of music that you kind of need to know. So like all these students at U of T, that's part of what they're doing, is they're learning all these standards, and they're just getting to know these songs, so that when you go to a jam session, someone can just say, oh, do you know this tune? And usually if there's some good musicians on stage, they can all find common ground. They'll all be able to pick a couple songs that they know, and they can just play, which is kind of one of the magic of jazz, is that you can play with people you've never played with before, and just pick a song you all know, and then you go. And so that's really fun. So that's jazz standards. And then, something else could be, for example, next week we're playing a song by a great Canadian trumpet player named Rochelle Therrien. Okay. So we'll play some songs by some other musicians. We're going to play a couple of originals, kind of just whatever people want to play.
No, that makes sense. Thank you for sharing that, because I think sometimes it's maybe similar to what we might think of classical music, like music that's been around for a long time that then becomes standard, or kind of like things you should know as basics.
Right. Exactly.
Right. Okay, cool. So this is the next set at the Emmett Ray.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
Exactly.
So that's happening next week.
Yeah.
Okay. And you also mentioned you have your ensemble. Like, anything else you want to share about what you're also working on next?
Well, the band that I was talking about with that Tara's in. So I'm as a jazz musician, you end up being in a lot of different.
You're collaborating with.
Yeah.
I've noticed that.
Yeah. So there's a lot of different bands that I play with, but I have a group, a sextet called Turboprop that I've been playing with for, I think we've been doing this now for, 10 years or something. It's been a long time. And it's a wonderful, wonderful group of musicians. We actually won a Juno Award in 2020, which was amazing. Yeah, it was very cool. So that band, we have some gigs coming up at the Rex in Toronto.
Oh, yeah.
At the beginning of January. It's the first full week of January. So January
nice.
7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th. Hopefully we have nice weather and it's not too snowy. We'll see.
I know.
You never know.
You never know.
But that's going to be great fun. I love playing with those musicians. It's a collection of some of the best musicians in Canada. And so I play with that. I have my own quartet as well. I'm kind of, and then I'm, musician for hire. So whoever wants me, I'm in. I'm totally in.
We have drums over here. We're covered.
Yeah.
I'm gonna rewind to the next set, the series that's coming up next week, because I know that it's a new series, but I forgot to ask you how long it's going for at the Emmett Ray. Like, Is it a few months? Like, what's the schedule like?
The plan is to extend it at least until May.
Okay.
The club has been super supportive of this
Nice.
as an initiative.
Mm-hmm.
So um, I'm hoping to just keep it going for the foreseeable future and just
Nice.
until I can't do it anymore for whatever reason. Uh, um, it seems like, again, so far it's been a very positive experience for everyone involved, and so I'd love to make it just a kind of a part of the
Mm-hmm.
community, just a part of the community, something that just happens every month, and people know to go check it out.
Mm-hmm.
So we have it again in December. Let me see, if I think it's December 10th. It's normally the first Wednesday of every
I
month,
was gonna say it's the first Wednesday. That's right.
but in December it's not. In December,
December is always a weird month.
yeah, December, I think they had something already booked on the 3rd. Um, and so we're doing it on the 10th in December, and then we'll be back in January, and moving forward. So
Moving
it's
forward.
it's
Excellent.
really exciting, and to be honest, I can't even tell you who's going to be doing it from month to month, because I usually don't pick who to ask until I've finished the one that
That's
I'm
fair.
doing. So, once we've played next week, then I'll sit down and think, okay, who have I had so far? What instruments have I had so far? Who can I
Mhm.
ask? I don't want to be, um, I don't want people to feel left out, and I don't want to be, uh, picking too many people from the same whatever instrument group or
Mhm.
friend group, or just I want to try and make, involve as many people as possible.
That
So,
makes sense.
and actually, one of the things that I do is whenever I pick um, a student to ask, I always ask them what other student they want to play with.
Well, that's nice. I like
And
that.
yeah, and then once they've picked the second person, then I pick the professional based on the instrumentation.
Makes sense.
So, when um, I asked Phil, the bass player who's playing next Wednesday, I
Mhm.
asked him to do it, and then he suggested the trumpet player, and then I thought, well, wouldn't it be great to get a saxophone and we'll just play
Right.
cordless? And
Mm-hmm.
and so I've kind of done that every time. I'll ask one person, see who they recommend, and then I'll fill it in with who I think would
Mm-hmm.
augment the group the best.
That makes sense. So there's a bit of a method. It doesn't always have to be, scheduled in advance. And I guess it also depends on availability. So
Of
it kind of
course.
gives you that flexibility too. As you
Yeah.
said, musicians have to be available for.
Yeah. Yeah. Luckily, it's a Wednesday night, and so it's not a Saturday or a Friday, so it usually people can be available, but it's also flexible, as you said. So I'm not too worried. If one person can't do it, there's so many great professional musicians in the city.
For
So if
sure.
if I ask someone and they can't do it, then I'll just ask someone else, and I'll ask them next time, and
Mhm.
you know
Yeah,
try and use as many people as possible, and kind of spread that
absolutely.
to spread the opportunity around, and kind of spread the idea of mentorship as around as much as possible.
I think that's critical in any art, the idea of working with peers, but also being able to connect to mentors and kind of establishing those relationships, right?
For sure. I think it's really, really, really important. And I was recently talking to someone who just graduated from U of T, and he was talking about how much he appreciated his teachers and how
Hmm.
much they mentored him. And actually, that's kind of what inspired this whole thing. Is I heard him say that, and I thought, you know,
Hmm.
that's something I want to get more involved with. Is I
Right.
want to get more involved, not only as a teacher, but as a mentor and someone that can give people opportunities. And as someone who's been working in this scene for a lot longer than these students have,
Sure.
um, I can open some doors that they can't, and I can
Right.
try. And so I'm loving it. It's really fun.
Yeah, it sounds like you, I mean, you do sound excited, which is great.
Yeah. I definitely am.
Yes, definitely. Even though I know you like being busy, but I think it makes sense to be able to take part of the work from the classroom outside the classroom and then, like you said, allowing folks to not just experience playing live, but also what that might be like for them in the future and also passing the hat, I guess. What is it? Pass the buck? I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, no,
Yeah.
passing the baton.
Yeah, it's the baton. Thanks.
Yeah. Exactly. And just to see, just to like, even in rehearsal the other day, I was thinking about it. We rehearsed yesterday for the
Mhm.
gig next week, and
Right.
just like watching how Tara she's such a professional and she's so wonderful, and not only like she takes it very seriously,
Sure.
and when she's when we're rehearsing, like she's doing her best, like she's she's playing she's not really mailing it in. And so
Hmm.
I think that's really important for people to just see how professionals work, and how
Yeah.
they work in a rehearsal setting, and how professional they are. I think that's so great. So anyways, I'm just really excited to be um sharing the stage with all these great musicians,
Hmm.
and sharing these opportunities. And it's been a blast. And I'm so happy that the club has been so supportive, so that we have it kind of booked for the next, who knows, hopefully the next 10 years. We'll see.
That'd be amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, live music of any kind is always needed, I think. So,
Yes.
before, just to wrap up and sort of get folks activated, what is it about jazz that you love so much that gets you this excited? Like, I know it's kind of, for me, it's more of a personal thing, like an emotional thing, because I don't play any instruments, but I do have family members that are musicians or have been. So my connection is a little bit by proxy when it comes to music. But what is it about it that you love so much that you hope people get out of coming to some of these jams, sessions, or concerts?
Yeah, I think it's the I mean, I think it's both the communication um that
Hmm.
happens on stage between jazz musicians. There's a
Yeah,
lot
that
of
is true.
unspoken, but really intricate communication that's happening.
Yeah.
And then the freedom that jazz musicians work within. Um, so it's kind of this dichotomy of sorts, because there's like so much freedom, but then they're also listening so intently to each other that
Hmm.
they're always working together. And again, you can do that with people that you've never played with before,
Hmm.
or you're playing with, as I said, we did like a 40-minute rehearsal, and now we're going to play a 2-hour gig. And
Yeah.
probably, I mean, I can tell you it's going to sound like we've played together for a long time,
Hmm.
because we're all operating from the same kind of language and the same understanding. And then we're just really listening to each other and supporting each other. And I think that's a really beautiful thing. And then when it's being done correctly, at least I will say for myself, I derive a ton of joy from performing
Mm.
and making music with other people. It's really like my happy place.
Right.
So, and I know when you go out and see musicians who are doing that and are connecting at that level, um, it usually ends up being very joyful for everyone involved. My favorite comment. Um, I just got back from a tour of Europe with a saxophone player that I play with,
Yes.
and my favorite comment always is when people come up and say, "I've never been to a jazz concert before, but I absolutely loved that," and it just brings me so much joy, because like jazz seems like a very intimidating style.
It can be for
It
some.
can be,
Hmm.
and I think if you go in there going, well, I need to understand what's happening, and I need to
Hmm.
know, and then it's going to be intimidating until you have that understanding. But you can also just sit back and enjoy it and watch people having fun making music together.
Yeah, that is
And
true.
yeah, so that's my favorite part of it, is just going, getting on stage with some like-minded musicians and just making some joyful music,
Mhm.
and bringing some joy to the audience. It's
Yeah.
fantastic.
Thank you for saying that, because I will say that that is sort of what I see. Like I said, I don't know all the intricacies of the instrument playing, but when I am close to the musicians, that's it's different from a concert hall versus something like the Emmett Ray, where we're closer to you
Right.
performing. You'll see like the eyes connecting, you see the hand movement, and there's just so much going on that I think it's so much fun, but also just the music vibes are great. So,
Yeah, yeah. Well,
sort of,
that's the idea.
right? That's the idea. Thank you, Ernesto. Thank you so much. I learned so much, and I'm gonna see how I can make time
Okay,
for first Wednesday of the month.
that would be awesome. It would be lovely to see you there. And thank
Thank
you so
you.
much
Of
for
course.
inviting me on here
Yeah,
and
no, I appreciate that. All the details are going to be online. People can click and find out where to go for info.
awesome.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
Thanks.